What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of this crazy thing called Boîte Noire Radio. I am your host, Alistair, and I am co-hosted by...
Beefy with the Anxiety, your favorite shit-talking squirrel friend. And you know what? If you come here and you don't have an open mind, what can they do, Alistair?
Just get out. Just turn off the camera, turn off the TV, just go away. And get the F out, because the truth of the matter is that, most likely we're going to have opinions different than yours, but it doesn't mean we can't be friends. Can we have a conversation? Absolutely. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so for those who are watching us from the YouTube, thank you so much. Press the like button. Do you understand how powerful that is? I know I mention it all the freaking time. It's because statistically speaking, nobody pressed the like button. So you press the like button. So you could be not a statistics. You could be the outlier. You could be special.
We ask so much of you already, and we appreciate that you're here. Every single one of you that comes here and watches this show, we love you so much.
Yes.
Oh, we love you.
Yes.
All 50 of you.
Yes. And for those who are listening to us on Spotify eventually, just do what you got to do there in Spotify to support the channel. I don't know how that works, but okay.
Yeah, show it to a friend.
Show it to a friend.
Check out this podcast.
But the best thing, Beefy, is to interact. Give us your point of view, because we're having a conversation with me and Beefy, but come on. Join in, talk, say something, be silly, or tell us about yourself. How about this? Tell us a secret that nobody knows. So the whole world can see it.
I love hearing from the viewers. That's my favorite thing.
Yes.
Drop us a comment and tell
Drop us a comment that nobody knows about you. Right. Since you're already anonymous, your screen name is not your real name, I think, and your screen name logo is not your real picture.
Fix that, because it shouldn't be.
So that in that case, you could be anonymous, but tell us your darkest secret. Are you a secret murderer? Are you a secret stalker?
Don't tell us that. I want to be involved.
Yeah, maybe that's too much.
Yeah, come on. You keep that to yourself.
Okay, fine. Are you a secret? Secret what? Secret?
Are you a CIA agent?
Right. Do you eat couches?
What's the code to activate? What's the guy? A sleeper agent?
A sleeper agent?
Sleeper cell?
Are you a Russian spy?
Yeah. What's
Do you
the
eat
what's
toilet
the thing
paper?
from Captain America? Whatever. It's like Apple, Macintosh, hardwire. We just activated a sleeper cell somewhere. Someone's gonna get murdered.
Oh my god!
The Boîte Noire Radio podcast.
Beefy, can I tell you something really quickly?
Yes,
do you remember? Canada is still burning, right? And this week, unfortunately, this week on I believe it was on Monday. No, it was last week. No, what I'm talking about was Thursday. I don't freaking know what it was, but it was maybe less than 8 days ago. The sky was red, and I had no idea that Canada was burning. So I opened the shades. Did I tell you the story already?
Yeah, New York City has been so
bad, right? I don't know if I told you the story. Maybe I did. I don't remember. I'm old. So I opened the shades, because I'm like, look at that sunshine. Need some light in here. And I opened the shade and the sky was red. And I go, ah! And then
apocalypse now.
So no, wait, I thought we were gonna die. I was like, oh my god, a meteorite just landed on Earth. We are gonna die.
What's the song from Apocalypse Now where the helicopters are dropping the napalm? Oh man, I forget now. Riders on the storm.
It was a complete mess. I turned around to Chris. I said, "Do we have to go to daycare and pick up the baby and hug her one last time? What is this? Why is the sky red? What is going on?" And Chris is like, "No,
the world is burning.
No, Canada is burning." I was like, "What? This is from freaking fire in Canada?" I was like, "No."
Isn't that crazy though?
Yes. But I'll never forget that feeling.
It's a reminder for all of us. Fire is a powerful thing.
I
get mesmerized, man. I'm in the fire business. I've told you before, I worked as a firefighter, and I love fire. Like, I can just sit there at night. We have a summer home that we go to, and we'll have like log fires at night. And I will sit there and I will just stare at that fire all night. I love it. I get transfixed. I love fire.
So, Beefy, is your secret that you're a pyromaniac?
No, I don't love it like that. Like, I've never started a fire somewhere beyond just like, yeah. I mean, I think all of us went through the phase when we started to play with fire, right? Did you ever do that? Did you ever burn yourself with the gasoline?
No.
Oh, I did that. I did that bad one time. buddies and I were drinking. This is back when I used to live with a private little pond thing. Back
Well,
behind
look
my
at
house.
that. Beefy, summer house, private
Yeah, I
pond.
love living by water. That's like I have to. I love it. But one Saturday night we were out there at our private pond and just playing around with the fire, and the gas can ended up catching on fire. And I didn't know at the time it's the fumes, not the actual liquid itself that catches on fire. So
yeah,
if
it's
your
a
gas
film.
can catches on fire, it's not going to explode unless it's pressurized.
Right.
But I didn't know that. I thought the thing was going to explode.
So everybody's freaking out.
Yeah, so I started to freak out. So even though the gas can was on fire, I picked it up and tossed it into the pond. And when it did that, the gasoline transferred onto my hand. Like the flaming gasoline went on there. And so I was shaking it, trying to put it out. But it was on fire for a good, 3-4 seconds. And I had almost third-degree burns. Like,
wait,
my hand,
so you have a scar right now?
No, it healed up okay. I was really burned though. Like my whole hand. You ever seen a blister from like a really bad burn?
Yes, I have.
My whole hand was covered. It looked like something out of Alien.
Yes.
But when I tossed the gasoline can into the pond, because the gasoline forms a vapor on top of water, the whole pond, it was like a massive lake of fire. I got told from my neighbors across the pond that they were out on their porch at the time, and they just heard screaming for me and my hand being on fire, and then the whole pond caught on fire.
Did you get in trouble with the firefighters and the police?
No, I was working for the fire department at the time, actually, so I would have been like double bad.
Oh, you little conniving squirrel.
Yeah, it could have been very, very bad. My buddy was passed out laying next to the fire.
Of course he was.
I remember this vividly. He happened to wake up because we were being so loud and there was
so much
flames.
There's always that one guy who's like, "What's going on?"
And he rolls over and he says to me, he goes, "Hey, you guys should put that out."
Really?
I was like, "Thanks, man."
Thanks.
But yeah, there's a story for you guys from Beefy's drinking days.
Yeah.
many moons ago. I was
many moons ago. I love that term. Do you know what other term I really love? When people say, instead of tomorrow, they say, "See you tomorrow." See you tomorrow. Oh my God. I literally faint. See you tomorrow. Take me down.
I like it when people say,
I love that word.
Fortnite. I'll see you in a fortnight.
Oh, I love that too.
Like when they say a coon's age. I haven't done that in a coon's age.
English language can be so sexy sometimes. Very, very sometimes.
Oh, I'll tell you, man. French is sexy.
Oh, yes, it is. It's true. Even for French people, it is.
I get transfixed in it. Like, I love French music. French pop. Oh, it's so good. I can't stand how beautiful the language is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we do have a nice language. Sorry, no offense. Okay, no, let's talk about this murder.
Are you ready then? We're gonna jump right into it.
I can't wait to talk about this murderer with the glasses and the good hair and the good looks.
Oh yeah.
Who's very hungry.
Murderer. Do you remember where we left off last week?
Yes. So he was like, "Okay, look, Dahmer, you and your sexual assault in a military, unacceptable. So take your airplane and go somewhere. Where's he gonna go? Miami. Go."
That's right. He left off in Miami, and old Jeffrey couldn't hack it by himself. He basically got fired from his job at the delicatessen. It wasn't long after moving out there that Jeffrey got fired from. He lost his job at the deli due to spending all of his money on booze. And after a few weeks of sleeping on the beach, he calls up his father, Lionel Dahmer. Oh, hang on. There he is. There's Lionel. Everybody knows this picture, right? It's a very famous interview.
Wait a minute. They look alike. Not in a good way.
Really?
Not in a good way.
Almost like they're related.
Well, I mean, they are related, but I mean, I feel like Lionel also is a little bit weird up here.
Yeah, probably.
I get that vibe of Lionel maybe was not microwaving kittens. Maybe he was microwaving cats. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
weird analogy.
Lionel doesn't seem so far off, but anyway, continue.
So yeah, he asks his dad for a plane ticket home after spending a few nights sleeping on the beach with no job and no money. He wants to go back home to Ohio. So very gracious as he is, Lionel does that. He sends him back home to Ohio. And although he was supportive at first, Dahmer's excessive drinking continued on back at home in Ohio, and it ended up becoming too much for his new stepmother to take. In fact, within 2 weeks, of living at home with his dad and his new stepmom, Jeff was arrested for drunk and disorderly, fined $60, and he spent 10 days in jail. Upon release, Jeffrey's dad was fed up. He had had enough between getting kicked out of college, discharged from the army. He can't even, stay sober long enough for 2 weeks just to make a good impression with his stepmom. So you know what dad does?
What?
Sends him to mommy.
Of course. Oh, go to your mother. Let her deal with you. Oh
no, not Jeff's mom. Lionel's mom. He goes to grandma's.
Oh, grandma.
Yeah.
Oh, but grandmothers, abuelas love their little chiclets. Okay, fine.
Sherry Dahmer. There she is.
Can I just tell you something? Where did you find those pictures, Beefy? You picked your shady boots. You picked those pictures purposely, aren't you? You are doing this on purpose. Look at the shade. Look with the picture of the grandmother that he picked. Look at that.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to say? Hi, grandma.
She looks like kind of a creeper too, don't they?
Yes, she looks. Yes.
Yeah,
oh God.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to hell. Okay, continue.
So yes, so in December of 1981, like I said, 2 weeks after moving in with his dad, he moves to West Allis, Wisconsin, to live with Grandma Dahmer. There we are, West Allis.
Sorry.
Why is that funny?
Welcome to West Allis. I'm sorry. I don't know why this is making me laugh. I have no idea why. I have no idea why.
But Great Lakes. I've always wanted to see the Great Lakes. Haven't you?
Oh, yes. I want to discover America. I'm
Ozarks?
so uncultured when it comes to this country. All I know is New Jersey and New York, Maryland, and that's it. I want to know more about the U.S.
Yeah, I want to see all the states. That would be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
But the Great Lakes in particular is something I've always wanted to see. I can't imagine a fresh body of water as far as the eye could see. That seems just so foreign to me. But very cool, very cool. It's actually really close to Milwaukee. You can't see it on this map. But
you mean where Darrell Brooks is from?
Yeah, yep, that's right. Oh, I didn't even make that connection.
I'm sorry.
Right, he was very close to Brooks.
Oh my God. Oh, they really make them over there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, really, they know how to make them.
Yeah.
Although things with Grandma may have been smooth on the onset, seeing Jeffrey help out with chores and taking his grandma to church, it didn't take long for things that evolved to debauchery from there on out. Shortly before losing his job as a phlebotomist at the Milwaukee Plasma Center, whoop, here it is.
Wait, how did he get that job in the first place? You need training for that.
So yeah, he had medical training from the army. Remember, he was
that's right.
That was his MOS.
Oh, that's right.
Medical. Yeah. In fact, in the Netflix show, they say that he was actually overqualified for his position as a phlebotomist.
Oh, he loved it. Needle.
He was basically an EMT. Although I took the EMT class for my firefighter training, and I know from experience that the values for military first aid and first response first aid are two very completely different things. Like, it's very much in the army, it's like tourniquet and ship them. You know what I mean?
It's like the ghetto version.
We're cutting limbs off. It's very much like down to brass tacks. Like, yeah, because most of the time they're in a field and they have a very limited supply of medical supplies.
That's right.
It's meant to be like wartime battlefield medicine.
Yeah.
Whereas in the emergency first response, there's an ambulance full of all kinds of
kinds
medical
of
supplies and whatever, and it's like, really, it's just trying to get people stabilized to get them to the hospital.
Of course.
Both are similar, but I'm sure there were some differences.
Yeah.
Shortly before losing his job as a phlebotomist at the Milwaukee Blood Plasma Center, on August 8th of 1982, Dahmer was arrested for exposing himself at the Wisconsin State Fair. There it is. There's his
Damn it.
There's his mugshot. He pled guilty to that crime, paying a fine and court costs. Reports state that almost 25 people, including women and children, were exposed during this incident.
Was he hard when he was exposing himself, or was he flaccid?
I didn't look into that. No, I prefer not knowing. I don't need to know. There are some facts in life I'm better off just not knowing.
No, listen, let me tell you a funny story. The reason why I say that is because that happened to my mother-in-law. So listen, look, my mother-in-law, she exercises and she's like, oh my God, I'm gonna go for a run. She goes for a run over there in Brooklyn in the park and she's running and there's a guy in a trench coat. Typical story.
Oh, I thought you were saying your mother-in-law was the exposer.
No.
That's so funny. I pictured her as like the guy in the tree, like, ah!
Yeah. So as she's jogging in the morning, and this guy in the trench coat, did the same thing.
Oh, that's awful, though.
But he was hard, and I said, "Mom, how do you keep it hard?" Anyway, that's what popped into my head.
Again, these are more questions we don't need the answers to. Some things in life we're just better off not knowing.
All right, continue.
So yeah, he's getting in all kinds of trouble at Grandma's house. He's getting arrested for exposing himself. He's getting fired. It's not all peaches and rainbows. In fact,
Grandma's too busy at church. She's too tired. She's a grown man.
She doesn't need this. Yeah, a grown alcoholic man who getting into all kinds of trouble is just more than an old woman can handle. She even ends up finding the torso of a male mannequin stowed away in Dahmer's closet that he had stolen from her department store, which she would use to snuggle with at night.
What? Okay. By the way, if you look at the mugshot, he looks unbothered, unfazed. He looks like
he looks almost like it's a smirk, right?
Like smiling. He's like, I exposed myself. What a sick man. It's almost like he enjoyed it. Do you remember like the Zodiac Killer? They enjoyed that stuff. They like that notoriety. They love
so it's funny you bring that up. We're gonna get into
really
certain aspects that Dahmer did enjoy and certain aspects that he didn't. But I don't want
I'm a mind reader.
Put the core. Yeah, you're very good at plucking out the parts that I've.
Because I'm nosy.
Yeah, you're good. It's very good. You've got a certain eyesight for this stuff. It makes telling the story that much easier. Okay. So because Dahmer spent so much time snuggling with this mannequin, and then he's fantasizing about, remember the murder of Stephen Hicks, where he laid ever so gently in the crook of his arm,
caressing his chest.
He is now beginning to build up a fantasy that he is, having trouble controlling day after day, and that's having complete and absolute submissive partners. And this is like beyond typical BDSM stuff.
It's beyond beyond that.
Yeah. He doesn't want them to move. He wants absolute control.
Like you blink when I blink. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even beyond that, he doesn't want them moving at all. What we'll find out is what his ultimate fantasy is. He was even quoted as saying he was trained to view people as objects instead of people. He had trained himself to get in that mindset of these things, they belong to me. They are my objects.
Wow. That is insane.
So much so that he would become a regular at local gay bathhouses in the underground gay community throughout the years of 1985 and 1986.
Of course.
And when I say the term regular, I mean he was actually like more infamous at he was banned from nearly all of them for roofing guys he would pick up at clubs, raping them, and then leaving the bathhouse staff to clean them up. He would say that he actually didn't enjoy sex with an awake person, because they would move around too much. He wants like the body, basically. He just wants them completely comatose, not moving. He enjoys that, being able to place them how he wants and do whatever he wants. Like he, for some reason, has made a connection sexually with the murder of Stephen Hicks and this mannequin, where he doesn't want a person. He wants a body. He wants a body.
He wants a male body.
I feel like there's a certain amount of connection there. Like we as humans, we associate previous sexual experiences, and they can shape what our likes and desires are. Like, for example, one of my very first sexual experiences when I was really young was from Jessica Rabbit. The very
I know exactly who she is. She's hot.
Red-haired,
Yeah, oh God, big boobs, slim waist.
That was my first sexual experience. And I
know
have
exactly
a type.
what you mean. You mean
I have a type.
Yeah, you have a type. Redheads?
Redhead and yes, full size. And I don't know why. I just
hello, Officer Roger.
Into my brain, like it was singed. Oh yeah, man! That cartoon. I can't.
You're so funny. I love it. Look. I'll tell you. when we're done with that, I'll take notes. I'll tell you my not sexual experience, but the first time I was like, oh no, honey, I'm 100% GAY. Okay, I was 13
Okay, yeah,
years old.
we'll save that for the Let's
Save
Chat
that.
segment.
Mhm.
But it's funny the way you know, like one sexual experience can make an imprint that will affect
Yeah,
us for the rest of our
let's
lives. And
realize.
it's
Yeah,
not so much necessarily what happened to us as children or a DNA makeup.
yeah,
It's just
the
that was it.
experience.
Like that was what it's the same thing almost like with you know p words. You know,
Yeah,
people are attracted to children. It's because a lot of them were abused young as
abuse.
children. Their
Yeah,
first sexual experience was
correct,
as a child. So
correct.
it's usually the abused that become the abusers because they
That's
associate
exactly correct.
sex with a very young state of mind. Anyways,
Correct.
so that's what's going on here with Dahmer is because you know his first sexual experience was with a murder victim. It has very
Yeah.
much imprinted on him what his sexual fantasies and his tastes. It's shaping those tastes, you know, in real time.
Can I challenge a little bit something about that to you? So
Sure.
at that time, being gay was obviously not acceptable. Do you think the fact that the shame associated with having sexual interest towards men and the fact that he was bullied at school, do you think that could have shaped, and he's a teenager, he wants to have sexual experience. Do you think that could have shaped the fact that he ended up not wanting to deal with a person, but with a body because he doesn't want to deal with the shame. It's like internalized homophobia to the extreme.
Hmm.
Like, because you're no longer alive, you cannot judge me. I cannot feel shame because you're dead. No?
Um, from the limited understanding I have of Dahmer and the way he connected to other gay men, I don't
Think
foresee
so?
like a self hatred thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what was going on here. Just personally, I don't get that vibe. But I could
Yeah.
be wrong. You know, you could
Yeah.
be you know you probably have a much better. You could speak more educatedly to you know how gay men interact and how that back and forth looks than I can. But
Mhm.
just again from poring over the case files and
Yeah.
you know I'm fairly familiar with this case. I don't think that's what was going on. You know, he
Yeah.
was very awkward and he had difficulty talking to people in general. But I
Yeah.
think he was pretty comfortable with his sexuality and being gay.
Being gay? Okay.
I think so. I mean, as much as you can back then when there was a certain stigma around it. But like,
Yeah.
you know, he wasn't shameful going into gay bars. Like he loved the gay scene.
Right. Yeah. Easy
And
praise.
you
Okay,
know,
continue.
he's given an opportunity going in the country and the first place he picks is Miami, you
Miami.
know. So he's to a certain extent comfortable with the fact that he's gay.
And excited.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yes,
And
true.
likes the whole gay scene.
He loves it. That's true. Hmm.
Okay. So yeah, he's going to these bathhouses and he's roofing all the guys, and then he leaves the cleanup to the bathhouse staff. So he's gotten banned from them, from almost all of them, to such a point that he's now working up the courage. He wants this lifeless body so much he is working himself up to murder. Like he's not really ready to admit that to himself, but he's very much the escalation of violence is getting there.
Yeah, it's
And
getting there.
when I said we talk about how like the thrill of the kill, that isn't really what's going on with Dahmer. He doesn't enjoy the act of murdering.
Yeah.
He wants the byproduct. He wants the body. It's like
Yeah.
the murders are incidental to that chase of
Yeah.
getting the dead body. In fact, he goes on to describe a period of his life after the fact, after he was convicted, where he had heard about a freshly buried 18-year-old, and he actually went out to that gravesite and tried to dig him up because he this is before he had actually like gone out to just murder people, you know, beyond Stephen Hicks. He hadn't murdered anybody at that point, but he wanted the body. So he didn't end up getting it because the soil was like too much of a task unto itself to
Yeah,
dig
it's
up,
hard to, yeah.
especially in Wisconsin. I mean, if it was even close to winter months, forget it. That soil was going to be you need a backhoe. You ain't doing that. I could tell you, I've dug holes in New England. You ain't doing that by hand, and if you are, it's going to be an all-night affair. Like, he's going to get caught.
See, Beefy, this is why we couldn't be criminals. I'm like, what am I doing? Dig a hole? I can't. What am I doing? No.
So yeah, on September 8th, 1986, Dahmer was arrested for lewd and lascivious behavior for masturbating in front of two 12-year-old boys at the Kinnickinnic River. There it is.
First of all, I don't mean to scream. I'm sorry. Um, Darn it, kids! I was gonna say something and then I corrected myself because, like this is a place where kids will go and swim and be filthy and dirty.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's pulling his pants down and woo!
run, kids, run!
Yeah. Although he would initially claim he was merely urinating, after accepting a plea deal with a lesser charge of disorderly conduct, Dahmer would avoid the sex offenders list and be formally charged with the crime on March 10th, 1987, sentenced to a year of probation and counseling. There he is. He's growing a
Still with that
mustache
smirk.
in the year between. Yeah, he does have the same shit-eating grin on his
Same
face.
shitty, same poopy grin.
Yeah.
Like he's so proud. He really loves it.
We're seeing the escalation here, right? Like it starts off
Yeah,
with just drinking,
yeah.
he's stealing mannequins, then we're getting into exposing himself, and now he's going to bathhouses, he's raping, he's drugging, he's exposing himself to people. It's like this is getting to a boiling point. Like we're reaching fever pitch status here with Dahmer. Things are slowly escalating and getting out of control for him.
You know what, Beefy? Where is mom and dad and grandma throughout this period of time? Are they just enjoying their lives?
We know where mom and dad is, right? Mom disconnected at 18.
So she doesn't care about this boy. Okay, so he's neglected child. And where's dad? Dad is like, I can't deal with you. Go to grandma. So nobody's caring. So there's no family member being like, Jeffrey, what are you doing? What is wrong with you?
That would really contribute to a big part of his abandonment issues. Is like he's so wild and out of control that people are kind of just like throwing their hands up, like I can't with you anymore. But he's really not trying. Like he's just getting drunk wherever he goes and getting into bad behavior. It's like he doesn't really have any long stints of doing the right thing. So as much as I feel like his dad really did put in the effort. I mean, he got recommended into a good school. He put him into the military. He messed that up. He became like, hey, you can come and live with us for a little while. Like, what else can you do at that point?
I would just keep on screaming.
He gets discharged from the military. Yeah. He can't even live in the same house with his dad. Like,
I know.
I don't know. I would never give up on my kids, but
yeah, I could never give up. Like I could never just not do anything. Although I'd be like, look, I'm taking you off the wheel. You are not me getting out of it until you get your act together. I'll tell you a funny story about that too. Just remind me at the end about the wheel.
I mean, you can probably speak more than anyone else can that sometimes when family gets too toxic, as much as it hurts, you do for your own well-being and those around you have to sometimes just go no contact.
Yeah.
I've learned the hard way that family is not a get out of jail free card for anything. It's not all excuses out the window.
I totally agree.
What.
Although I don't know how it is from a parent's perspective. Like even if Olympia was a murderer, and I said that, like I said, okay, look, darling, I'm like, darling, you're gonna go to prison. Goodbye. But I would still visit her every freaking time. You know what I mean? Like I certainly, if Olympia was being drunkard and doing all this mess, I'm taking my 2 feet over there, getting into her face. What are you doing? Yeah. Oh.
Same.
I'm like, what's wrong with you? Anyway, continue.
Okay. Dahmer. On the night of November 20th, 1987, Dahmer would encounter a young man named Stephen Toomey at a local gay bar. There he is.
Nice hair. Look at my hair. Again,
I think we know where this is going.
I can't with this hair.
I know, yeah. It's like a red flag for this show. And you see somebody with a great set of hair, they're doomed.
If you got good hair, come on this show. If you got good hair, come on this show.
Don't, because you're probably going to get murdered.
If you got good hair, run away from Dahmer.
Yeah, every time I show somebody with a great head of hair, they are dead. Dead AF.
Poor Steven. How old was Steven? He looks young.
Oh, shucks. I didn't write that down. I'm not sure.
It's okay. He looks like
over 21 because he's in a gay bar.
Oh, fake IDs. Hello. Okay, fine. 21.
Yeah,
Go.
Maybe. So after hitting it off, Dahmer propositioned Stephen to get a hotel room because he's banned from other bathhouses. There was no way for him to have the kind of fun Dahmer was anticipating at his grandmother's house, and as I just mentioned, being banned from all the local bathhouses, Dahmer elected to splurge on a room at the Ambassador Hotel. Fancy! You must really like him. He's wine and dining him. He's going for the fancy hotel room. The two men, already heavily intoxicated, would spend the evening drinking and dancing in said hotel room. Jeff would eventually spike Stephen's drink with the intention of doing what at this point had become a routine. Caress and explore the unconscious man's body, and start inserting things into holes, unfortunately.
Like
While they're unconscious.
his appendages or objects?
No, we're talking fortunately, yeah.
You have to beat that, but okay. I wasn't sure because some.
I did it myself. Look at that.
It's okay,
I'm
but
so
just use
bad.
the beep. Okay,
Yeah,
YouTube, you can't get us, YouTube. Yeah,
R word,
beep it.
SA.
Yeah. Just use the beep in editing. But okay, so eventually sexually assault him. Okay, got it. So okay, continue.
So, in the process of trying to drug Stephen, he pulls the Princess Bride. He mixes up the drinks, and he himself ends up blacking out. Yeah.
So Stephen is like, oh man, what a wasted night. Okay, I guess I'll go home. Stephen, you're so lucky. Okay, continue.
It wouldn't be until he came to the next morning that Dahmer would find a bloodied and beaten Toomey laying dead on the floor next to the bed. His chest had been crushed in, he was covered in bruises, and a small pool of blood collected in the corner of his mouth, indicating his injuries had taken place while Stephen was still alive. Dahmer looked himself over only to discover he himself was also covered in bruises all over his arms and fists. There was no doubt, as there would be none if police were to respond, Dahmer had beaten this man to death with his bare hands in what can only be described as a blacked-out drunken rage. Dahmer then purchased a large suitcase with cash, stuffed Toomey's dead body inside of it, transported the body back to his grandmother's house, and stored it up in his room for about a week. When the opportunity finally presented itself, he severed the head, arms, and legs from the torso, filleted the flesh from the bones with a very sharp knife from his grandmother's kitchen, cut the pieces of flesh into small pieces, and put them into garbage bags. He wrapped the bones in sheets and pounded them into dust with a sledgehammer. This process took Dahmer all of about 2 hours, as he'd become almost surgical with his taxidermy skills. He then dumped all of the remains out in the curb with that week's trash, all except Stephen's head, which he wrapped in a blanket and kept in the closet of his room. Occasionally, on nights when his grandmother went to bed early enough, he would take out and admire and lavish his trophy as somewhat of a monolith for weeks, until decomposition had occurred to such that it started to attract flies. Dahmer then boiled the head in detergent and bleach and stripped the flesh from the skull. For months afterwards, Dahmer kept this skull in his closet and used it as stimulation for masturbation, until such the skull had become too brittle and he pulverized and disposed of it, putting it out with that week's trash, much like the rest of Stephen Toomey's remains. And thus would be how Stephen Toomey's body would find its final resting place in a landfill in West Allis, Wisconsin.
So, okay, my first thing is, it took him 2 hours to do that. He must have been very surgical. Like he knew that, right?
Remember, it's not his first time.
It's not his first time. Oh my God, Dahmer. And then also weeks, like the body must have smelled. Grandma.
No. He only keeps the body in the suitcase in his room for like less than a week. He's just basically waiting for his grandma to go to bed early, and he takes it downstairs and he gets rid of the body. He cuts the head off, torso, arms, legs.
Okay,
that all goes in the trash. He keeps the head up in his closet for about 2 weeks, and then decomposition starts to take in, and flies are getting there. Quick. Yeah, so he has to boil the flesh off of the skull, and he keeps the skull for fucking months. But he's
keep that, please. Okay.
He's using the head of Stephen Toomey for masturbation for months. I mean, he only gets a couple of weeks in before he has to strip the skull off. But yeah, he's reached a turning point now. Death has now become part of the equation. And
now, how the hell did he clean all the blood in the hotel? Okay, hotel people, you've been sued. If I was the Toomey family,
there really wasn't a lot of blood aside from a small amount of blood that collected in the corner of his mouth. Like I said, he just basically beat him to death.
Wow.
Crushed his chest in.
Oh, Stephen.
Yeah, he met a very grisly end. Now, this is like only speculation on my part.
Yeah.
But Dahmer's on probation when this happens, and I think the idea. I think the idea of him being turned down, like just the rejection on its face, would, like, because he's probably used to it at that point, like propositioning people and getting turned down. So I don't think that was the inciting incident. Like him, because you got to think, put yourself into the situation, right? Jeff's blacked out. You know, he's probably sloppy, and Toomey is probably uncomfortable with it. You know what I mean? Like he's no, you know, like you're not in a position where I feel like you can't really consent. Is probably what Toomey is saying. So Toomey probably goes to go leave, and I think that is the inciting incident. The abandonment kicks in.
Yeah.
You know, Dahmer has it in his mind already. Like, you're mine. You belong to me. We're having sex tonight.
Yes.
So
whether you're alive or not.
Yeah. So when Dahmer's going around all loopy and blacked out, and Toomey goes to make a walk for the door, I think that's when the abandonment issue kicks in. Dahmer's, like, he even admits, he's not looking at him as a person. Like, you belong to me. You're an object.
He's an object.
You're staying. So that's
he's
when
not even an animal. That's crazy. He doesn't even see them as an animal.
Yeah,
you're not
the
even
crippling fear of abandonment that was the driving force behind almost all of the murders. And I think this is the first example we're seeing. I mean, even with Stephen Hicks, it wasn't until Hicks starts mentioning that he wants to get going and get to the concert that Dahmer decides he wants to kill him. You know, Dahmer is actually like a kind of an awkward guy. So,
awkward.
Yeah, the possibility of being turned down, I don't think it's anything he wasn't very comfortable with. It had to have been Toomey's getting ready to leave. Oh, no, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah. You know, let me tell you something. I'll tell you a trick. And it's a trick that I've used. And it's a trick that I'm going to tell my daughter when the time comes. This is how you get out of situations like this. Because lunatics like Dahmer, anybody who has this weird obsession of like, if I can't have you, nobody can, and you find yourself stuck in the room with the person. Oh, no. This is where you put your acting skills together. You ready? All right. You say, ah, ha, ha, ha. You play along with it. Oh, okay. Ha, 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 ha. I got a surprise for you. Really? Yeah, I got a surprise for you. I'll be right back. Hold on 1 second. Stay here. Don't move. And then,
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it.
I've used this trick. You play along with it. You're like, for the good, you go, okay, fine. 10, 20 minutes. I'm going to pretend and be like I'm into you. And then when I'm like, okay, I think he feels this arm. Like, oh my God, I got a surprise for you. No, you don't understand. I brought it. Listen, I'll be right back. Hold on 1 second.
I'll be right back.
You forget all your stuff. Don't take your phone. Please, honey. You take your phone with the police later on.
Yeah, leave the phone. That's more evidence.
Take off your shoes. Just bring your body out the door. And then you go and call 911. Great.
Amen. Good advice. Good advice.
Good advice. All right.
So at any rate, you know, the murder of Toomey, that would very much serve as a turning point for Dahmer. Up until now, he had really only experimented with unconscious people. He had just assumed he didn't like them moving during sex. However, the killing of Toomey opened up several doors in Dahmer's mind, you know, ones that involved the combination of death and sex.
Yeah.
You know, up until Toomey, Dahmer, I feel like, was trying to repress those feelings. Like,
he was trying not to kill. You could tell.
Yeah,
he doesn't
want to
root for you.
Like, we talk about the self-hatred thing. I think the idea of him being sexually attracted to death was something he wasn't really ready to admit to himself. The unbridled ecstasy he experiences both from the murder and then fantasizing about it afterwards with Toomey's head, you know, that becomes the catalyst for this major step up in escalation of violence, right? Like, we're going from to murder. It's a big jump.
Yeah, beep
Typically,
that.
It takes. Oh, I did it again.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Just don't forget to beep it. YouTube would knock our knees out.
But you know, to quote Dahmer himself, from this point on, he would no longer try to control his impulses. He would lean fully.
He surrendered to his primal instincts.
Exactly. Yeah. This would set into motion a hunting and a killing spree that would span like a little over a decade, where Dahmer would prey upon the gay and minority communities to experiment with this fascination of sex and murder and how those two were intertwined in his sexual fascinations.
Oh my God.
It sucks that he's, you know, like I said, the people are the byproduct of what is ultimately just a fetish, you know?
It's just a fetish.
There probably could have been ways he could have expressed it. Actually, I don't know. How do you?
Like, I don't know, maybe keep digging graves. How about that? Nobody can, go ahead, go dig the grave. I don't know how you express necrophilia. Necrophiliacs. I don't know how you become a necrophiliac in this civilized world that we are.
Yeah.
There's no way you can. No. You just have to live with the fact that you will always be sexually unsatisfied. Welcome to the world of everybody has a problem. Just yours is a little bigger.
Oh God, can you imagine?
I cannot.
Thank God, like I get ashamed of the redhead thing, but it's like I can deal with that. Like but there are redheads out there. That,
I love redheads. Can I tell you? I like redheads too, except the male version. But
yeah, ginger. Woo.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Dahmer. Okay, continue.
So only 2 months after the murder of Toomey, Dahmer would encounter a 14-year-old Native American prostitute named James Doc Stater. 14.
Damn it.
Wow, I just saw.
Wait, you said Native American?
Yeah. I literally just watched on screen the look of disgust as the realization poured over you what's about to happen to this young boy.
Yeah.
Like, I watched in real time. You see the picture pop up and know that, like, yeah, there's something bad going to happen to this kid. Very bad.
Ahead.
Luring young Doug Stater to his grandmother's house under the guise of a modeling job, Dahmer promised the kid $50 in exchange for some lewd and lascivious photographs.
Damn it.
The couple ended up engaging in consensual sex before Jeffrey drugged Doug Stater, dragged his lifeless body down to the basement of his grandmother's house, and strangled the life out of him while he was still unconscious. Doug Stater never even had a chance to fight back or even see what was coming. He then left the child's body on the cellar floor for about a week before dismembering him in a very similar fashion as he did to me, stripping the flesh from the bones, smashing the bones with a hammer, and placing the remains out in the trash with the rest of that week's garbage to be picked up by unsuspecting garbage men. Keeping young James' head as a trophy in his closet, he would then boil the flesh from the skull once the decomposition had gotten to a point where it's too intense for Jeffrey to handle. Although he boiled and bleached the skin and muscle from the bone, this process would make the skull itself very brittle, and only after about 2 weeks, Jeffrey had to pulverize it just like he did Toomey's and Doc Stater's bodies and put the skull out in the trash with the rest of his remains, and that too would become young Doc Stater's final resting place, a landfill in West Allis, Wisconsin.
Wow.
14 years old.
Yeah, well, you said he was a prostitute, right? So definitely not family issues, right? Because he was lured by $50.
Yeah. Well, then again, it's 1979. $50 is probably more like it's a lot more money, but
like $500.
I don't know what inflation. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you give me $500 if I was 14. I say, okay, sir, I'll take it.
I was 14 years old. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't take my clothes off. I wouldn't be comfortable with that.
No, I wouldn't take my clothes off. You know, I'd probably snatch it and run away. Yeah, but you know, like you're 14. You know, like really,
I was a chubby kid. Nobody was paying young Beefy to take his clothes off at 14. They were like, you know, layer up, put some clothes on, buddy.
So funny. Yeah, but you know, every young teenager are attracted by like, you know, hey, $500. You get attracted by it. Like you can't woo me with $500, but a youngin, yeah, you can. Any youngin, even the ones who are for good families, who are well rested, well fed, you dangle $500, they'll turn around and say, "Really?" Yeah. All right.
But yeah, that's where we're gonna wrap up for this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're gonna. There's gonna be a major jump from this point forward, so it felt like a natural resting point. Like we're gonna get next week's episode is gonna be particularly dark. Like it's gonna be a lot of. I mean, for anybody that knows the case file, he had a lot of victims, and like, next week we're gonna get into some really sick S.
Next week we're gonna get it. no, because Dahmer has surrendered, and this is the second victim. He's like, I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah,
and look,
exactly.
He even got rid of the people the same way. He waited 2 weeks. Like it's like a protocol. It's methodological. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Scary.
He's building up a
process
and a routine. You know, us as humans, we are creatures of routine.
Yeah, he's creating a process. Like
he's even building a routine around his grandmother and being able to conduct this right under her nose. Like when she found out after the fact that all this was going on in her house, she was probably horrified.
Yeah, probably horrified.
This was going on, and he was doing this in her basement. It's just awful.
You know,
she was just trying to help out her grandson. You know, she didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. She didn't do anything wrong.
Awful. He's a sick man. I don't like him.
Yeah, right. No, he's really sick. I think he's like worse. Like if you put, let's say if you put like, like a death battle, and you put in a boxing ring, who's gonna win? Like if the criminals have powers between Dahmer and Ted Bundy, who's gonna win? Dahmer.
That's a good question.
Dahmer will F Ted Bundy up. Dahmer is so insane. Okay, Dahmer and Dara Brooks. Dahmer and Manson. Okay, Manson.
I don't know. You really get that Dahmer was like a fighter?
No, I didn't mean like, let's say if you imagine every criminal has superpowers, like if you had to give a number to Dahmer from 0 to 100 of how lethal he is, what number would you give him? I'd give him 101. Like Dahmer is dangerous. Like with Dahmer, you 100.
He's very crafty.
Crafty.
Like,
that makes him very dangerous. That means you're 100% chance, 101% chance you won't make it alive. At least with
he's
Brooks,
like Batman. Like if you give Dahmer prep time, like if you give him enough time to lure somebody into a situation, 10 times out of 10, he's gonna murder that person.
He's gonna murder you, and he's charming. No, not really.
He's not really charming. Like that's
he's not really charming. Ted Bundy is charming.
Yeah,
Ted Bundy has the charm.
Bundy had the ability to just see a girl walking down the street, and he was able to get her into the car, and then it's just smack in the back of the head or whatever. You know what I mean? Like Bundy, it was dangerous in the very physical, like right in front of you. Like this person in front of me is a murderer. And he has the skills to get me where he wants me.
Yeah, Ted Bundy was the heterosexual version of Dahmer. Because look, let me tell you something. They were both good-looking men, and they were charming, and teenagers, they want to have fun too. So it's very disarming. They were very disarming. They had no chance. They didn't know it. They had no chance. There's nothing they could have done the victims better to protect themselves better. They were
like we say here with Doc Stater, he didn't even have a chance to fight back.
No chance.
That's what sucks, is he just went to sleep and that was it.
Nothing they could have done different. Nothing.
So awful.
Nothing. That's what makes them so dangerous, because they are predators. Like can I tell you something? I can guarantee you someone out there is a Dahmer in this world, but we just don't know about it yet.
Yeah, there are a lot of uncaptured serial killers out there.
I know.
Oh, a case we need to pour into is the Long Island serial killer. You want to talk about cases I've dove into? Oh boy, I have done a deep dive on Lisk.
Well, maybe he'll be the next murderer.
That sounds like a good one. I don't know what I'd do for a thumbnail though, because we don't know what he looks like.
Oh, we don't know what he looks like?
We don't know who he is. Yeah, just like a Mysterion, like a question mark, Get it out black face. So listen, did you find something from the internet this week?
This week, I did not.
Oh, what?
I did not. Let me tell you something. I have to tell you why. I was too busy paying attention to. The market is doing great, by the way. The economy is doing awesome. Financial advice.
Really?
And Trump has been arrested. I'm sorry, I'm just too busy looking at that. Like, oh my God, he's been arrested.
Did you not notice it? How good is the market out there? Why don't you tell us all about it?
Inflation is really low. Inflation is unbelievably low. And if you have any investment right now over there on the stock market, you made some money. Yeah, everyone's made something. The market is really good. I got to tell you something. I know you guys don't want to hear it.
I've heard the opposite. I've heard, because my mom has her 401k tied up in stock options, and she told me that because her money is tied up in stock, that she's dropped $100,000 out of her retirement money.
Tell her to look at it again.
Huh?
Tell her to look at it again today.
Oh, so it's back up from where it used to be,
quite significantly. Okay. And I think it's going to stay up because they didn't increase the interest rate. It's going to stay up. Let me tell you something. You don't bet against America. You will lose. Don't bet against the United States. You will lose. I say that to all the African countries who don't like us.
Well, here's the thing about that, right? For everybody that was freaking out
and
who has all these stock options, because the market was down not that long ago, and people were kind of freaking out about it. If you have money,
people were freaking out. Yes, because of COVID, because of the economy. The economy was coming out of the lockdown. You had the war over there in Russia. Oil prices, everything was a little bit like what's going on. So it was, people were afraid. But So far, so good. It looks like the Feds they're increasing interest rate, but it looks like we've made a soft landing. But regardless, listen, regardless of what it might be, the thing that drives the stock market is people's perception. If people are comfortable, then the market will be good. If people are not comfortable, then the market will be bad. Simple as that. And so the US was able to make investors comfortable enough to be like, okay, I guess the US is good. That's it. That's it. Yeah. It's great. It's great. I was like, oh, thank God. Yeah, because
was it you talking about the egg shortage and how there really actually aren't a shortage of eggs, or is that somebody else?
Maybe somebody else, but the eggs got more expensive.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, it's a manufactured shortage. Like they showed footage on the news of these egg sellers, and they have giant warehouses filled with eggs, and they're just like nobody's buying them.
Yeah,
so it's like they're creating an artificial shortage and you know who pays for it ultimately is
it's us. Yeah. Oh, please.
This is what is that?
This is what I always say. You know, you have, like, for example, with Trump going to prison, Trump being arrested or arraigned, people are going on the street and rioting. Guys, he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about you. Like, what are you doing getting out of your house, crossing the street, paying a plane ticket, flying over, wasting your money, paying for hotel, lunch, just to stand in the street? You can't even get near it. He doesn't care about you. And this is the thing, like, that happens all the time. We pay the prices regardless. And I think the number one priority should be yourself and your household, and then everybody else. You can't be so obsessed with someone to the point where you get so overconsumed and you forget the fact that that particular person does not give a damn about you. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. You're talking about Trump?
Well, I use him as an example as to who always pays. If there's anything wrong, it's us, the consumers, who always pay. And people think that, oh, I'm going to vote for this person, they're going to fight for me. That is not true. That's not how it works. They don't fight for you as an individual. They fight for the corporations. Welcome to the world. Where have you been? You really think, and that involves everybody. I just use Trump as an example because his sycophants are very, 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 very sycophantous. But that applies also to Biden. He doesn't care about you either. You don't pay your taxes, your home will be repossessed. You think Biden cares? No, I voted for you. So, I lost my home. Okay.
Silly you.
Screw you. You know what I mean? So it's not I'm not speaking just for the Trump situation. I just use him as an example because his supporters are like, rah! I'm like, really? Because I'm tired. I gotta go work tomorrow.
Getting convicted? What happened with his deposition? I haven't followed it.
So here's the thing. The thing is that, and people minimize this. No, honey, he's gonna go to jail. And the reason why they can't even
Trump in jail.
They can't even like sweep it under the rug. It's because he spoke publicly about his crime. Even if you get a judge who's like, oh, Trump is my idol, the law is very clear. The law is very clear. Even if the judge who thinks Trump is an idol doesn't put him in jail, it will get appealed, and the appellateness is going to agree to put him in jail. You don't understand the severity of the crime he did. He took classified information and went home with it. And they told him multiple times, please, 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 please bring him back.
Please bring him back. With a essay, because I heard during his deposition, he's like,
Espionage Act. The Espionage Act. No, once you're no longer president, you understand that the White House is not yours. It belongs to the people. So you give back. You don't just go home with
peaceful transition
classified documents. No, he took it home with him. And they told him multiple times for a good year, give it back. Wow. And then not only did he not give it back, but he lied on the oath. And his lawyers lied on the oath. Like, oh, no, we don't have it. No, they had to raid his home and they found stacks and boxes of classified documents. That's what I mean. Like, even if you like the guy, how do you defend that? And then listen, all that communication, there's a paper trail. A paper trail. Let me tell you something, whoever is over there being a criminal, don't be so stupid and put it on writing. Are you serious? Are you serious? Like, let's rob the bank on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Sand. Don't do that. Don't do that. There's a paper trail.
Yeah, it's funny. This is something that I do in my work life. Is I always try to get people to communicate with me via email as much as possible.
Yeah.
For that exact reason, because I have a record of it. So that way, when I send somebody out and they're like, "Oh, you never said that," I can search and pull up and say, like you said, MFer, Actually,
You
I
said
did
it.
say that, or
This
you
day,
did say that
this
on
time.
this date at this time, and here's exactly what you said.
Okay.
That's my
Yeah.
favorite thing. Oh, I love throwing people's words in
There's
their
a paper
face.
trail. Everything can be subpoenaed. People think that
It
your phone is
unearths like a
private.
certain sector of my brain that just makes me
Yeah.
happy like I have never known.
Yeah.
When I'm
Yeah.
able to just like forward an email, I was like, actually, you
Yeah.
did say the act. Oh,
Yeah.
God, I love it so much.
And you know, he's in big trouble, and people like to compare and contrast with the Hillary situation. And again, this goes back to what I say to everybody all the time. Listen, my problem, Biffy, if I have a problem, let's say we both have the same problem, I can't just be like, but wait, why am I going to jail? Why don't you bring Biffy to jail? Because you're not Biffy, Alistair. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like you can't compare and contrast because, again, no one cares. No one cares. You have to move around your life being very conscious of the ripple effect that you leave behind. Yeah.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. What's crazy about this whole Trump thing, right, is
Yeah.
that he not only that he had the documents, but that he lied about it. That's the crazy thing.
He lied about it. And with no shame. No shame. And he lied about it behind the scenes. So, some of the lawyers quit because they were, you know, reputation, everything, liabilities, everything. And they were like, wait, you're the lawyer. You knew about this? What the hell? You know, do you know what I mean?
Well, they're probably on the hook for that liability as well.
They're on the hook for that liability. So that's why some of the lawyers quit, 100%. Because like, you're aware of it. You know it's unethically wrong. What are you doing? Yeah, just because you're a defense lawyer doesn't mean you defend everything. There's a court of ethics. No, he's in biggest trouble possible, and I don't know how he's going to escape it.
Isn't Rudy Giuliani one of his lawyers?
Yeah, no, not anymore. But his situation is also coming up, and the thing also, the reason why they can't even let that go because it's a national security issue. I might be like, oh my God, Hillary emails. But listen, here's the big difference. The big difference is that Hillary was smarter. How was she smarter? She wasn't brazenly over there offending everybody. So half of America doesn't know how mean she is because she can be very mean. Okay, Hillary has her own issues, but all we know is the brazenness and the rudeness of Trump, and people are just mad at that because he was walking around offending everybody he could. I told you what he said about African countries, right? Look, I tell you all the time, Africa, you know, you need to get your act together.
Well, he said about Mexico too, that all of our
immigrants and
right come from Mexico.
Yeah, and he said African
and then
countries.
He posts up on Twitter, see, I love Mexico. See my burrito bowl.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I saw that. And making fun of like disabled guy. I'm like, come on.
Oh yeah, this
come on. Like at some point, you got to ask yourself, like, is this who I am? Right? People who support him. Is this who I am? Is this really who I am? And I'm a feminist. And everybody talks like crap behind closed doors. But the fact that I heard like I'm grabbed by the P word, really? Because I have a daughter, I have a mother, I have a sister. I dare you to touch them like that. Are you mind? Are you mind? Are you out of your mind? Like it's stuff like that. And I tell you a secret. I was going to vote for Trump in 2016 when he first came. I think I told you that, right? Because I bought the watch, which I never.
Yeah, I would have too. I would have voted for him. I was going to vote for him, and I just wanted to see the Yes Show, like the.
Well, I wasn't for Hillary. I didn't want to vote for Hillary because of, I told you Hillary has her issues as well. She's not a nice person, but she hides it very well. And
in retrospect, though, seeing the mess that Trump made, we would have been so much better.
Yeah, it would have been so much better. It would have been so much better. In my opinion, right. In my opinion, and the reason why I decided not to vote for Trump is because he said all Mexicans are, you know, and that, and African countries are poop hole countries, and I was like, excuse me, excuse me, I'm an immigrant from Africa. You want my vote? Are you out of your mind? What are you saying? But you know, he won the 2016. I guess people didn't care that much. Yeah.
I remember that night that he won. I was working nights. I was still working in the field doing fire sprinklers, and
people got so depressed. Yeah,
I was working at a Walmart. Yeah, no, I was. Everybody was pretty excited actually because, like, again, we wanted to see the Yes Show. It was like I remember thinking to myself, like, wait, he actually won?
Yeah.
Wait, Donald Trump is our shut up.
Yeah.
That's what I was with my reaction. I was like, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
This is happening. We're doing this.
I giggled for a few seconds and I went right back to my life because again, everybody, those politicians, they don't care about you. They really don't. If you really look into policies and if you really look on both sides, if you really dissect and follow the money, it doesn't land in your pocket. it doesn't land in your pocket. And if it lands in your pocket, it's not enough to even pay your rent. I'm telling you. I am telling you. It's not a speculation. I'm telling you. I am telling you, whoever's listening. Now, if you dissect it correctly and you follow where the thing is going, you're not getting any of it. I tell you another example. The PPP loan situation. Please, if you look at who got that, okay, not you, not me, not the small businesses who really need it. Oh, Princeton University, do they really need it? Oh, but they got it. Like, think about that. Like, you think when they talk small, you're talking about you. They're not talking about you. They're talking about the corporation down the street. No. But again, most people don't know how to follow the money. You got to learn, educate yourself and learn how to follow the money. And when you really pay attention, you realize you only have one person to look after you.
Yeah, I find out more and more that's the key to almost everything is just follow the money.
Follow the money.
Chances are, no matter whatever is going on, whatever you're looking at,
follow the
money is the answer.
They tell you anything to make you believe anything. Like, yes, we'll do this for you. Just vote for me. Honey, you press the vote. And then you're like, what happened? I don't know what happened. You didn't pay your taxes? Oh, sorry. Get him.
Yeah, really, though. Really. It's like,
I voted for you. I voted for you. Oh, you did? Okay. Oh, my God. Get him away. It's too loud. Right? It's that's how it is. Welcome to the world of politics. Right.
So, what else is going on in your life, man? Let's chat.
All right, let's chat. So, okay, I want to go back to Dahmer.
Okay.
And remember, we talked. Not my first sexual experience. It really wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
But it was a time I was like, wow, maybe I do like men. So I came to the US and I went to a private French school, darling. Yes. And so
private French school?
Yeah, because I didn't speak English right away. So I went to private French school, but they had a special bus to take us there. We lived at the time at Roosevelt Island, and I was super young, 15, 14, 15, doesn't matter. I was a teenager. And at the school, wake up in the morning at 8 a.m. and you go downstairs and you wait for the bus, and the bus takes you out of Roosevelt Island to the tram, take the tram, and then we had a special car. You get in the car, get in the bus, and go to school. And every morning at 8 a.m., there was this guy. I don't know, maybe he was in his 30s. Absolutely gorgeous. And I was 15, right? And I remember, maybe that's where the hair obsession was, but he had the most luscious, thick,
you got a thing for hair,
amazing hair.
I did notice that you're always commenting.
And he would just go like that. It was just so thick and delicious. It was just so thick and heavy. It was so heavy. And I remember I was like, just staring at this poor guy. He was married because he had the ring, of course. He didn't give a crap about it. He was like, who is this? What? No, he was just waiting to go to work, probably hated his job. Just like, oh my God, what a horrible day this is, right? But I'm sitting here staring at this guy, playing with his hair. And then every day, I'd be like, Mama, come on, hurry up. Because I didn't want to miss the 8 a.m. bus because he took the 8 a.m. bus. I wanted to go and stare at the guy with the good hair and the wedding ring. But then one day, because I'm bold in some ways. One day I was like, you know what?
I have to talk to him.
No, please, no, not at all. No, not that. Because even though my hormones were raging, I was a teenager. I was trying to figure out why am I so attracted to this person? I had no idea. It was my homosexuality being like, no, honey, you like men. I had no idea. I was like, I don't know why I'm so attracted to this person. But you know what I did, Beefy? When the bus took us to the tram, and I'm low-key following him. And I was a tall 15-year-old, so I was low-key following him. I got in the same tram. And then when the tram landed on the New York side, I followed him to work. Can you believe this?
Really?
I went Dahmer stalkerish. Kind of. And I realized because in New York City, right, he walked into his office, to his building, and I couldn't follow there. And I was like, oh my God, where am I? What am I doing? You're supposed to be at school. And then because it's a private school, so if you're not here, the whole world got to know, oh my God, where's my son? Where's your kid? And And I didn't make it to school. My parents were called. It was a big deal. Like police was called, searching for this black kid running around New York City. Yeah, it was me. And I was like running back, trying to go back my way to find my way back to school. I'll never forget that. And so that's the first time when I remember, because that day it was too late. The police was already involved. The cops came. My mom was like, "Oh my God, I thought you were kidnapped." Oh my God.
You really did pull a Dahmer, because I didn't mention it in the case file, but there was a story that Dahmer told after he got convicted where he used to see this guy who would run every day with his shirt off, and Dahmer would wait in the bushes, what he called his hidey hole. It was like a little spot. He would go every day, and he would wait for this. This is back when he was like probably similar to your age, like in middle school,
15?
you know?
Yeah.
And
He's trying to figure out what
he's obsessed with this guy who runs past every day with his shirt off.
Yeah.
And he had it in his head one day that he was going to hit him over the head with a baseball bat.
Oh my God!
I was play with him, but he didn't end up. Working up the courage to do it.
No, I never thought that. I was just admiring the guy's hair. I never thought, oh my God, let me just beat him.
But funny how even at a young age he had this fascination with. I'm gonna go kill this guy. And have my way with him.
Yeah. Oh God, Dahmer. Yeah. So that's my youngin situation where I because that night I got in so much
does Christopher have a nice full head of hair?
When I met him, he did. Not anymore.
Oh, really?
When I met him, his hair was so thick, like you could grab it and go like that. And he had that's what he said, but I'm gonna repeat it, okay? He had the Jewish hair, so it has locks. So
I have very, very thick hair like that.
It's thick hair, but it has some locks. I don't know. It's not straight. It has a curl to it. But when I met him, he was like thick, like carpet.
Yeah.
Thick.
Yeah.
One of my favorite pastime when we were dating is to play with his hair, and he loved it because he loved it. And then he's older now, so now he's losing his hair. He lost his hair.
Happens to the rest of us.
Yeah, he lost his hair.
In my older age, it's starting to thin for me a little bit, but it's still really like they always tell me to go get a haircut. It's like, oh, you're so lucky, your hair is so thick.
You have thick hair?
Yeah. It's like really like you said, I stick my hand in it, you get stuck.
It's like it's stuck. It's like carpet. Yeah. Like it's stuck. I got a full set of hair too, but it's for I prefer to go bald headed because it's not very little management. Then
it is nice to have the shaved head, and then like even when you go to get the buzzer, you just go all around your head. Yep, there you go.
Think about it. Easy. What kind of haircut?
It looks great on you.
Thank you.
I'm so used to the short hair. I can't
to the short hair. Thank you. Unless when I have like sleepless night with Olympia, or I'm too busy, sick, and like literally dying with a sickness from daycare, then you could see like my hair come out because I get too lazy to shave. But pre-baby,
yeah, when you were sick, you had a beard. That's right.
Yeah, I had a beard. I was getting a
caveman style. Every guy gets it. Sick beard.
Oh, really? Is that a thing?
Yeah, because you don't want to shave.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, sick beard.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got sick beard.
I get it when I get depressed. I don't have the motivation to shave, and I start to it starts to grow out on me. So you can always tell Beefy's sad because he's got the stubble.
The stubble.
Yep. I had a mustache for a really long time. I just probably like 6 months ago shaved it off.
Oh, why did you shave it off?
Needed to change. Just didn't like it on my face anymore.
Let me tell you one more story in regards to Dahmer again and the mom and dad, the parents.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to speak in riddles. I can't give you names because I didn't ask permission. I don't know who's going to watch this. So it's the relative of the spouse of my friend. Okay.
There you go.
And they are they have a trust, and this is actually too hard to say without really giving details, so forget it. Long story short, mom and dad stepped in and did and he had to change his ways, but they stepped in the best way they can to prevent the trust from coming in. And they were like, if you don't get your act together, you're not getting any of this. Even after we croak, you could be forever by yourself, alone, struggling. And the kid really wanted really wanted his money, and so but the stipulation is money. In other words, I know Dahmer was not motivated by money, but in other words, mom and dad were trying. Oh my god, they were trying. They were in the face. They were trying nonstop. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I can't tell you the story. Sorry.
That's all right.
It's hard to say without. Yeah. Anyway, so look. Any final thought?
Oh shucks, I didn't prepare anything.
I have one.
Okay.
Final thought.
The final thought.
So, final thought. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. She is a psychotherapist. And I had, okay, don't be triggered, but it falls in the category of necrophiliac and pedophilia. And I asked a simple question, because we're both science people, and I was saying to her, I said, hey, let me tell you something. Because these two conditions refers to a sexual preference. She says, uh-huh. And I said, okay, let's go with necrophilia first. That means that it's a sexual urge, just like I have the urge to be intimate with men.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the urge to be intimate with a dead body. She goes, uh-huh. And then I said, so just like there's no treatment for my condition, it's not a condition. I just, played around with the story. So that means there's no treatment for their condition. She goes, correct. And then I said, so what are you telling me here then, K? That's the first letter. So are you telling me that people who have necrophiliac are stuck with a forever
like you said,
disturbance of never being satisfied?
Yeah.
And she said, yes. And I said, oh, no wonder they always do crimes. And she said,
yeah,
yes. Because
same thing with murderers. Typically, sex is like the main motivating factor.
Yeah. At some point, because it's a natural urge, like you really want to get down and dirty, right? Unless you're asexual on the spectrum, there's a spectrum of asexuality. Unless you're on that spectrum of asexuality, you want to be intimate. So if your intimate partner is a dead body, you have a problem. And so at some point, you would blow up and do something.
I mean, there has to be some stuff you could do. I mean, find a partner you really trust and just ask him to lay still or something. I don't know, man. That's hard. I mean, they gotta live their lives. It's gotta be. Can you imagine, like, you get married to somebody and that's what they're like? What would really get me going, baby, is if you just lay in bed and don't move. And like,
I can't even breathe. Don't move. Don't breathe. Don't make noises. Biffy, can you imagine?
For a week so you smell bad.
I bet you there's someone out there who's that supportive.
Honestly, yeah, I'm pretty sex positive. Like, if my partner's, I would try it just for the sake of them, because if you're married to somebody and that's what they like, I don't know. I feel like you kind of owe it to them to explore it with that. Maybe that's
okay. Maybe one time. Yeah. One time, I'm definitely laughing. And like, stay in character. Okay.
I'll tell you a story from when I was married. I played a joke on my wife one time because we were doing that, trying to explore each other's sexual interests, because we were married, and it's like, well, if we're gonna be doing this for the rest of our lives, we gotta
you're married,
figure out what makes each other. She was a redhead who had a very full chest, so I was pretty satisfied from the get go.
Yeah.
She was a stripper, but yeah. Anyways, she. So funny.
Yeah.
I told her, I was like, what really, like, I really, really like, and I've never told anybody this, is I want a blumpkin. You know what a blumpkin is?
What is that? Oh my God, what is that, Beefy? What the hell is that?
It's when you get oral sex while going poop.
Oh, you take a poop? Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what a blumpkin is. And so, yeah, just to mess with her, I told her that's what I was into. And she, like, I could see the physical disgust in her go, ooh. But you know what she said to me? She was like, we can try something on the toilet, but you're not pooping. And I was, oh my God, you're the best. The fact that you would even... She was so relieved when I told her I was just messing with her.
Wow. You know what? That's really funny, but why the pooping though? But it's a good point. But she makes a
I
good
don't
point.
know. It's some people's thing. But aces to her for being like, hey, we're married. We'll try this. Even I don't think anybody should ever be doing that when somebody's going poop. That's just gross.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
really
like
gross.
they say too that like the particles are in the air. Like
Yeah.
people will tell me you don't want to keep your toothbrush like a certain distance from the toilet.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that, well, we don't need to get into the microbiology of it all, but
I can't.
it's not very sanitary.
Sometimes some number twos are liquidy, explosive, and splashy, and then you
it's
go
the
like,
same reason
"Oh my
I don't
god, what is that?
like,
It's getting in my face." I can't.
Like I know dudes that go 8 a.m. and I will never ever I will do that. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Oh, the best part: people who are into poop. Some people are into poop. Have you watched Two Girls in One Cup?
No, I haven't. I purposely have avoided that video because there are some things in the world I'm better off just not knowing and not seeing.
Okay, I'll tell you a story. Because I've lived in that world where I've lived in the world. Welcome to New York City as a gay man. I've lived in that world, and I've had experience of not me personally, but I've had experience of a friend having an interaction with a patron, and all he wanted is to be pooped on.
Oh.
And okay, I'll tell you, I won't tell you the name. So in my friend group at the time, there were escorts, there were prostitutes in the friend group. There were, there was all of us. Look, we're all the family because our family rejected us. So you be friends with whoever's nice enough not to hurt you. Right? Not to hurt you, because that's the key. Don't hurt me. But in that thing, and everybody, we're all very accepting, because at the end of the day, we're all suffering. So you can't, anyway. So, because I'm a nosy person, I ask questions. Where did you go? Oh yeah, I'm just about to see a client. Oh, how does it work?
I poop on his chest.
No. He froze for a second. He's like, well, you just go and you get paid first, and then you do whatever they want you to do. I said, oh, I guess that's easy. Like, do you care? Like, do you pick? Do you care? Like, what if you don't want to do it? He's like, no, girl, you do what you got to do. I said, okay, yeah, I understand. And then I asked, what about this particular client? He's like, well, and he was smoking. So he goes, yeah, he wanted me to take a poop on his chest. And I said, what? And you know how loud I am. And it's all of us, we're all hanging out, and I'm like, what? And that's the first time I heard about that. I was like, no, of course you said no, because and then I never forget that he goes, no, bitch, I did it. I was like, oh my god. So many more questions ensued. I was like, oh my god. So did you eat before you went? What if you couldn't go? What? Who cleans the sheet? What happens afterwards? I don't want to scare you, but I was told everything. I know everything about that fetish because I asked so many questions and I was told everything. He said
here's a good question for you before we wrap up here, because I was this question was put before me recently, and I know what my answer is. And the question was, would you feel morally comfortable having sex with somebody for money?
Oh, I have an answer for you. I would do it. Everybody has a price. Go ahead, sue me, throw stones. You offer me $2 billion, I'm thinking about it.
So my first answer initially, just shock reaction, because like, I don't know, I'm like a old-fashioned lover boy romance kind of type. So like for me, sex is a very passionate thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can have unpassionate sex. You know what I mean? At this point in my life, it's not something I really want to get involved in, like the hooking up thing. I'm really just not. I'm not into it anymore. I had a phase where that was a thing, and not part of BB's life anymore. So initially on its face, I was like, no. But then I started to think, well, if I'm attracted to that person, the dynamic kind of changes. Like, because if I'm going to have sex with them for free, what really is the difference if I'm getting paid? So I think that's for me. Like, I don't think I'm willing to sacrifice my pride to have sex with somebody enough where if I'm not attracted to them, I would force myself to do that for money. I'm not no judgment against people that do. There's nothing against sex work, but for me, I would walk out of that situation differently, knowing that I sacrificed my my pride basically because I'm not comfortable with it.
Oops, I think that's a great question, viewers.
I can feel your judgment. I can
no,
feel
not at
me.
all, not at all. I told you I would do it with for a price. Viewers, what would you do? Would you have sex for money? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you have sex for money? If yes, why? If no, why? Go, let us know. And let me tell you what, this question actually, I've asked this question to Christopher pre-Olympia because, I'm nosy and I ask a lot of questions. And I was like, hey, Chris, what would happen if, you know what, there is a price tag? Because if you offer me $1 million, no thanks. 10 million, no thanks. It will do a price tag, and it will be so many contingencies. And I have actually had a conversation with my husband about this, and I said, "What if someone comes in and be like, I give you $2 billion?" Even Christopher was like, he paused.
$2 billion, yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
And then even Christopher was like, $2 billion? I'm like, yeah.
Know,
what if someone offered me $2 billion just to have sex with him for one night? He's like, yeah, you do it. He's like, go ahead.
Like, we're not even arguing over the principle anymore. Okay. It's just a matter of price. And you know what? That's a fair point, because if somebody offered me $2 billion, I probably would do it. So it really is just a matter of price.
It's just a matter of price. Everybody has a price number. Now, you could lay contingencies. Obviously, wear a condom, STD test. You can lay all the contingencies you want. Yeah. But, honey, $2 billion, yes or no? Yes, with contingencies. I get back to you in 10 minutes, okay?
Yeah. Write out a list for the contract.
All right, look, Jeff Bezos give me $2 billion. What? Yeah, $2 billion. What? Yeah, $2 billion cash, and he covers the taxes. Really? Yes. What are we gonna do? Good question, Alistair. Do it. Okay. No, like it's.
You think he'd say yes? You think he'd be down with it? I mean, $1 billion is going to him, right?
It's. I think also because the question was asked in banter.
He didn't even have to do anything.
Yeah, I think the question was asked in banter. We both agreed to it. It probably would be a different story if it was if it really happened.
Yeah.
But for sure, not your typical price tag. No, if you want to have sex with this, at least $1 billion.
Yeah.
1 million is nothing. 1 million goes away like that. I am fortified. I am unfragile. Do you know what that means?
Yeah. It means you got monies upon monies.
No. Unfragile means that I have you go into every situation understanding and knowing that something might dip you. You can't just go in there and be like, I'm the mightiest of them all and nothing can happen to me. And with that mindset, if you get dipped, you go, oh, it happened. You just shake it off and go and rise back up. It's called unfragile. It's a new term that actually my psychiatrist friend was talking about, how in this era of children, the millennials, the younger millennials and Gen Alpha and under, they're so unfragile. Because they don't know what it's like not to win. They always got the medal for showing up. They always got something for participation. They don't understand the real value of nobody cares. You're not always going to win. Nobody really thinks about you like that. It's not about you. They don't understand that. And so therefore they're like, oh my God, it's not about me. I didn't win the medal. And so they collapse. No, being unfragile is understanding that the world does not revolve around you.
Yeah. It's like having thick skin.
Thick skin. It's having thick skin.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you work a couple of toxic jobs.
Okay.
You get humbled real quick. You realize you are worth nothing.
Nothing. They go like, who are you? Alistair? Yeah. Okay. Go over there. Okay.
Working construction back in the 2000s. I mean, I used to get wrenches thrown at me. My helper has the IQ of a snail.
Where is my helper? I'm here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You get humbled real quick.
Humbled really quick. You understand that life is not about you.
Yeah, and that you are low on the totem pole. It makes it that much sweeter when you get when you get up there and get it like I am now.
Yes, but also, you know what makes it that much sweeter is when you stop and interact with someone, because then it's like, at least to me, it's like, wow.
It was really good that it happened to me, because now I'm the one telling people what to do, and I remember what it felt like to be told that in a crappy way, and I would never do that to somebody, which is the kind of people that should be in those positions that know the responsibility behind their power, to quote Spider-Man.
Yeah. And Beefy, you know what? There's power in your words, and because people look up to you and they hear you, so it's your words now have
you too, man.
Weight. Thank you. And
well, we're both content creators. We have influence over our audience.
Well, I like to more call it not so much influence over an audience, but a lot more a symbiosis with a collective.
Yeah.
Because their feedback also matter, right? So their feedback matters, but the most important thing, right, is that because we are at the helm, our example sets the tone. So if we go in there rolling our necks, be like, "Yo, MF," it sets the tone. It sets the tone.
Yeah. I actually have one final thought I thought of before we go.
No, go ahead.
We talked a lot about our sexual interests and our what gets our gears going this episode. And
I didn't tell you what gets my gear going.
Whatever. Okay, you know what I mean.
Hair. No, okay, go ahead.
We should all be true to ourselves to a fault. And we were talking about this before we got on the air, about how we shouldn't be trying to be something we're not. And we should all be, no matter what the cost and what's going on in our lives, true to like what fires us up and what we care about and who we are as individuals. I think Dr. Seuss said, nobody can be as you can. There's nobody out there as you are. So be the most you that you can. And if that means you have a necrophilia, whatever, you know what I mean? There are certain responsibilities that come with that, but that doesn't mean you can't manage it. You know what I mean? And whatever your sexual proclivities are, you should not be ashamed of those. You should lean into them. And if that means there are certain restrictions in what you can do with those sexual proclivities, take accountability in that and just manage it responsibly.
Beefy for president.
Okay.
I vote for the squirrel. Yes, Beefy. I was trying to control my outbursts of screaming for the sake that the microphone is very close to my mouth and it'll blow your ears out. But yes!
And with that, we will see you next week. Boîte Noirians or whatever. I almost said Squirrel Fan, but that's a different channel.
Oh, I don't mind that. Squirrel friends. Yeah,
we'll see you next week.
Squirrel friends. But wait, you gotta press that like button though, okay?
Yes, before you go. Like.
Gotta be cheesy. Press the like button, press the subscribe, and share it. But regardless, I'm always so happy to see you. Well,
thank you for watching.
But whoever is watching.
You're not seeing me, you're seeing the squirrel, dude.
But you know what? It's the essence. You know what the essence means? I say that all the time. The essence is like the idea that you're here is all I need, which is even more powerful. That means you don't even need to be here. I give you a day off.
The viewers are here. The viewers are here too, and we love all of your essence that you show up for us.
Yeah, you don't even have to show up. The idea, show up. But the idea of me showing up is all I need. Just the idea. Look how easy I am to please. Just the thought of
you. Show up next week. Make sure you show up next week.
Right. Just show up next week. I need a crystal ball. Where's the crystal ball?
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
End transmission.
Thank you for watching.
But just, I press play too. Usually I press play and it's playing in the background for Christopher to hear. And he's like, "You're so ridiculous."